Hello and welcome to Counterpressed on The Ringer and Spotify. I'm in the studio with Kate Longhurst and Moyo Abiona. On today's show, we discuss the second round of games in Group A and B as Norway and Spain become the first sides to book a place in the quarterfinals. We also look ahead to England's all or nothing game against the Netherlands on Wednesday night. Well, team, it's the first time I've seen you both since England lost to France on Saturday night. We obviously did a massive debrief on Sunday's show. So before we look ahead to this game on Wednesday later on in today's episode, I want to just get your quick thoughts on what you thought of that performance. Kate, I saw you later in the day. You headed home because you had a big christening on Sunday, the main event. But what did you make of that England performance?
First 15 minutes, I really thought, yeah, we're up for this and we look the better team. And then it just imploded, really, didn't it, from the disallowed goal, which I've seen the still pictures of the offside and I'm still not convinced it's offside, but it is what it is. And then, yeah, just the whole nature of the game changed. We were really sloppy in possession. Everything that we've been saying previously about how we look vulnerable on the counter-attack and how we're a little bit disjointed out of possession, it kind of happened. I don't think there's like panic stations right now. I still think we're more than capable of beating Netherlands and we're more than capable of beating Wales. But obviously it does leave us in a bit of a precarious position at the moment. So it's not the ideal start.
Moya, thoughts?
Yeah, I'd echo what Kate is saying, to be honest. Like, first 15 minutes, I actually thought we looked good. And then I think it's a tricky one because we obviously like that we've got fullbacks that can get forward, but every time they seem to get forward in that France game, it just felt as though it was an accident waiting to happen. And France were just capitalising each time. We spoke about it beforehand. Like, France's forward line is scary. But it looked like everyone was scary that day, which was not expected. But yeah, I still think England go through, touch wood.
I need some of that sprinkling of positivity because there is a feeling of dread that I have, but we'll get onto that later. Okay, so we'll park the England chat for now. Let's talk about Spain beating Belgium 6-2 after this. This episode is presented by Pepsi Max. Pepsi Max has always supported both women's and men's football. So to help make sure the next 50 years are as legendary as the last, they've made an inspiring film called Refresh the Game, featuring current stars like Lauren James and Leah Williamson, alongside legends like Pele. Refresh the Game celebrates the unapologetic challenger spirit and talent of women's football. Watch it now on Pepsi Max channels. Pepsi Max, proud sponsors of the UEFA Women's Euro this summer. So Group B has been delivering the best games. I want to start with Spain's result against Belgium. A really chaotic, fun game, end-to-end, proper basketball stuff. Belgium getting their opportunities in transition, which is what we know they love to do. They obviously beat England in the Nations League doing exactly that. Spain looking defensively a little bit all over the shop, and that's probably their greatest weakness. But Spain scoring 6 goals and now having scored 11 across 2 games, Kate, they showed in this match just how deadly they are with the ball at their feet, especially that opening goal that Putellas gets. Belgium managed to hold on a little bit longer than Portugal, but Mariona on the ball, the way it was just played through everyone, and then Putellas with the finish, that basically sort of set the agenda for how Spain were going to play in this match.
Yeah, they're really showing their attacking intent at the moment. And like you said, I think they have some scary moments at the back. And in all honesty, Belgium probably could have had 4 or 5 on another day. They were unlucky with the offside goal as well, but obviously that was close to the end. But Spain are looking terrifying going forward at the moment. And it's like what you said on the last pod, Moyo, that with Spain, I do feel like they're taking a lot of long shots to kind of stack pad a little bit. And some of their shots they were taking are sort of like, they're not really doing much here. But I think the way they cut through Belgium at times, and Belgium are playing with a back 5, and how are you finding them spaces? And I do think sometimes the Belgian wing backs are gone, so it's not like they're picking up properly, but they're playing with a back 5 and you're still playing spaces to find between their lines to get shots off to score goals. There's just no other teams so far that I've seen in the tournament that look like they can work the spaces like that. So, and they're scoring different types of goals as well. You look at Pina's goal, of course, was that at 5? I don't even know what the score was at the time. Was that the fifth goal?
Hers was in the 80th minute. So I believe it was the 5th goal, yeah.
And so you might try your luck a little bit when you've got that 2-goal cushion, you start thinking, all right, we'll try some shots from distance. But the fact that they're scoring all different types of goals now, looking dangerous from set pieces, which is a problem as well, because if you're going to concede against Spain, you probably don't want to concede set pieces. So, yeah, they're looking terrifying. But I do think the bit of hope for teams is that they look vulnerable defensively because they are just piling everyone forward.
So, yeah, Pina's goal was the 5th goal. Another screaming from her. She only scores really good goals. Patea's got another one on the 86th minute.
Yeah.
And she finished the game with 2 goals and 2 assists. I mean, it's so hard to play against a team that are so cohesive, even with Bonmati getting 45 minutes on this occasion. Vicky Lopez has been sensational, probably deserves to stay on the pitch really and start. She, again, caused so many problems yesterday. She looked frustrated to come off, as you would be. But really, the only weakness you can see is Catacol was on the bench, still not fit enough to start after being ill. Nanclares didn't look massively comfortable. The first goal that Van Hevermet scores, she comes out to claim it, messes it up. Yeah. And Spain looked just generally a little bit chaotic at the back, especially from set pieces. So depending on when Catacol comes back in, that will certainly be a way that teams will probably want to target Spain, but then Spain is so comfortable just outscoring you.
Yeah.
Is it even going to matter?
I think that's the biggest problem right now. I also think that when you do score against Spain and you start gaining confidence, then you start thinking, let's go toe to toe here, and that there is the error. Like, I think at 2-2, like let's calm down now. Let's calm down for at least like a 10-15 minute period, and
even
then we'll
longer
go
than 20
again.
seconds when they conceded again. But
it wasn't an ideal time to concede the third, and I think once Spain scored their third one, it was just like, we know what we're doing now. Let's kill the lights, basically. And you just felt that, and I have to say as well, like Alexia is just exuding so much star quality right now. Like, this feels like, obviously it's not going to feel exactly like Alexia of 2023, but like...
She feels kind of back.
She feels...
in a big way.
Yeah, she feels like... The last time I saw Spain, it didn't feel like Alexia was the girl. Like, she wasn't the main girl. But right now, she's feeling like the main girl again, which is promising for Spain fans.
Yeah, I completely agree. Tough for Belgium, out of the Euros, 2 defeats. I know England's group is Group D is the real group of death, but actually this was a tough group.
Yeah.
This was a tough group for all of these sides, and I think a lot of people hope that Belgium might be able to cause a few problems. Italy have sort of gone about things the right way-ish, and I feel for Belgium because I think they would have felt like maybe they had a chance. They are unfortunately out of the Euros. So in the other game in Group B last night, an absolute classic.
Yep.
Portugal won, Italy won. This game just sparked into life in the last 20 minutes. Girelli scoring an absolute screamer. Italy really think they've won the game.
Yeah.
And we saw what they did when they won 1-0 in their first group game. We're going to do it again. It's obviously textbook Italy. But Portugal did not give up. They have a goal disallowed. They think that's the moment, but they finally get the equaliser. Diana Gomez and his absolute scenes, subs on the pitch. The atmosphere was amazing. So many Portugal fans had turned up in Geneva. Kate, you must have felt like if you had been on that subs bench, no offence, maybe you would have been on the subs bench.
I would have been starting, come on.
You would have been on the pitch because that was such a moment for them.
Well, everyone, to start off with Italy, when they scored, there was people in suits on the pitch. I was like, how are you running on the pitch with a suit on? And how are you not slipping over as well in them shiny shoes? And then obviously the scenes for Portugal. But I always found myself screaming at the telly.
Same.
Yeah.
Get the ball, get up. You haven't got time to celebrate. Because the thing is, with Portugal, they keep their hopes alive. But they now need either a big score against Belgium, which is very difficult because they've just lost 3-0 to them in the Nations League. And not saying that's going to be the same thing that happens. Or you're hoping that Spain batter Italy. But the problem is Italy are not so vulnerable defensively, and also Spain are through now. So are they going to rotate players? They're going to take their foot off the gas a little bit. I'm not saying that Spain will do that, because whoever you put in is still going to be a really good team. So I was thinking Portugal have to win this for a chance to get through. So I just didn't want the game to end. I thought this is the most fun game I've seen. And to be fair, the Spain-Belgium game was fun as well. I think it was a great day of football. And that group has really come to life, because you're almost like, well, Spain will get through and then Italy will probably get through, and it's a nothing group. But I really enjoyed the game. I didn't want it to end.
Yeah, Portugal definitely made the most of their moment. I mean, the scenes at full time as well. Keeper Patricia Moraes, who was celebrating
Mary Earps vibes.
Every save was the match-winning save. She was in with the fans at the final whistle, waving a huge Portugal flag, just living in every moment. There's an amazing clip on the Euro 2025 Instagram that you've got to see, because it was so emotional. And I think there's also, they're still feeling, obviously, the effects of the tragedy around Jota and his brother. And they had Jota on their training shirts before the match when they were warming up yesterday. So I think that has also sort of bled into how much they want to showcase Portugal on this stage and make people proud. Okay, I agree with you. It's a shame that they didn't have time to get the winner, because there's still an uphill task to have any chance of trying to get out of the group. But keeping themselves alive and having the hope is so strong in itself, right, Moyo?
Yeah, exactly that. I think no one wants to go into the last game knowing that your fate is already sealed. Now they've at least got a chance, and they can only control what they can control. So they have to go into that game, win comfortably, if possible, and then just hope that Spain do them a favour, really.
Let's talk about Group A, because Group A has not been as entertaining, really.
Yeah.
But Norway, the world's jammiest team, I need some of that luck to sprinkle on England, truly. They got away with it in the first game against Switzerland, end up coming from a goal down and winning 2-1. They bloody did it again against Finland. And I really felt for the Finns in this one, because they had more than enough chances to win the game. Again, Norway, they're a lazy team to watch. You see some of those very good players walking around the pitch, barely getting into a sprint. And then suddenly Caroline Graham-Hampson decides that she's going to turn it on.
Good.
She's pretty good. She remembers she's pretty good. And scores a screamer late in the game when understandably, probably, focus, fatigue, everything. 84th minute winner for Norway. They are through to the quarterfinals with 2 wins from 2 games, which all of us who watched their first game, who've watched them recently in major tournaments, wouldn't have thought this was going to be the case. Group A is the easiest group, but still, I feel for Finland and I feel for Iceland in this group, because I think they've both been unlucky. Kate, is there any redeeming thing to look at Norway of how they've managed these games? It just feels frustrating, I think.
It does, but then would you take Norway's position right now for England?
Oh yeah,
exactly.
By hand off.
So you either want to play really well in the first game and not win, and take that confidence and go, right, we're strong for the next game, we still believe in ourselves, we know we can create loads of chances, or you want to pick up points when you haven't played well. Ideally, you want to play well and pick up points, but if that's not going to happen, you want those 2 scenarios. Now with Norway, they've played 2 games, played pretty stinky in both games, and got 6 points, and they're through. So, it's a great place to be in, because I think we said it last time, the only way is up. Like, the only way now for them to continue and to get better is by better performances. And maybe when they play what they see as stronger teams, maybe they do have to raise their performances, because at the moment they've played 2 teams that you would expect them to beat, and probably quite comfortably in terms of the way they're playing performance-wise. But you look at them against Finland, I mean, I think they had about 4 or 5 shots. And Finland, who, I'll be honest, I don't know a great deal about, I wasn't expecting great things from them this tournament, but they looked by far the better team, the team that wanted to try and win, the team that wanted to qualify, and they're still sitting in a good position on 3 points. It's still in their hands. But Yeah, I don't think Norway are in a bad place because they've picked up 6 points from not playing well.
Yeah, I take the points.
Yeah.
I take the points for sure. And I think when you look at Norway's squad, like, yes, they haven't been playing well, but like you've got players in that squad that if they all do decide to turn up in a cohesive manner, it could be a great that's a great team on paper. Obviously, right now they're not really showcasing what it is that they have within the squad, but I think if it can all come together in the next game or like in the games after the group stage, they could be a great team.
Yeah, and I actually think when you look at their potential route moving forward to try and go a little bit deeper in this tournament, they've got a potential quarter-final against Italy, if Italy, I believe, finish second in their group.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a real scenario in which Norway get to a semi-final potentially with France, and you're thinking, hang on, how have they got there? But it just shows in a tight tournament with the right sort of draw, you can get far. Let's talk about Switzerland because they got such an important win in front of their home fans. They deserved it against Norway, were unlucky, but this time they made sure of it against Iceland, who did on Sunday night become the first team to be knocked out of the competition. But let's start with Switzerland because this was an amazing moment for them in front of their home crowd, fully deserved. And it was a night in which their young stars, I think, really came to the fore. You've got Aman Bini, who's obviously been signed by Man City recently, Sydney Schenteleb, probably terrible pronunciation, my German skills not coming through. And Geraldine Reuteler, she's 26, so it's not as exciting as those 18-year-olds, but she's had a great tournament, back-to-back player of the match performances. Kate, how impressed have you been with Switzerland? Because I've really enjoyed watching them so far.
Yeah, I think they've shown their good side and their bad side so far in the tournament. I think first half against Norway, they looked really good, took the game to them. And then second half, they just didn't really know how to manage the game or how to deal with the situations that were happening. I've been really impressed with Reuteler. She's a really exciting player to watch, can make things happen. She seems to be involved in everything as well, even like the other end, the handball. The other day, she could have given another penalty away. Like, she's involved in everything. So far, she's probably been one of the most enjoyable performances I've seen from an individual this tournament. But
I also just want to pick you up on that, Kate, as well. I just feel like she's a player that a lot of teams in this tournament are missing, is that she's just a nuisance.
Yeah.
She's, like you say, she's everywhere.
Yeah.
She's either trying to hustle to win the ball back or she's being aggressive when she's on the ball. And I feel like there are so many sides who could do with that sort of player.
Yep, completely.
Yeah, she's probably like, in a way, a bit like Georgia Stanway. Maybe Georgia Stanway's not as, I don't want to say the word techie because she is techie, but like she tries to do a bit of everything. And we obviously haven't got her at her best at the moment, but she sort of reminds me of that type of player. Maybe a little bit more flary, but yeah, Switzerland, like, what's really nice is the home crowd just getting behind them so much, and that's why I really want them to progress, because the longer the home nation's in the tournament, the better it is for everyone, because it just keeps the vibes good, the excitement levels, and just like you see the celebrations at the end, it's almost like they'd qualified, and I'm thinking you've still got one game to go. It's almost like you've qualified, but I don't mind it actually, because maybe people will feed off of that and they'll see, okay, the enjoyment from that game, let's go into the next game and go with the same thing, because you want the crowd behind you. And they have just like brought such good vibes. And I was a little bit worried about Switzerland, it being hosted in Switzerland, and probably in a way of not really having any reason to like not believe in it. But Switzerland have never really brought anything to the party in terms of women's football. We didn't know what to expect. So as a host nation, all the crowds have been really good, except the Mexican waves, which I cannot stand.
Way too much Mexican wave going down.
Why does the camera always show it as well? I'm like, stop showing it.
There was a really tragic Mexican wave on Saturday night when England were losing. And I just thought, have
Stop.
shame.
Have some
Yeah, we're
class.
losing and
Literally.
you're still standing up.
It's pathetic, honestly.
Please stop it if you're there. If you're there, please.
We're
I
begging
beg.
you. I'm the same. I'd made a lot of assumptions about what to expect in Switzerland. And I have been to Switzerland before and watched men's football there. And they've got a big ultra culture within the men's game there, which obviously a lot of Europe has. But I spoke to a lot of people when I was there before who said women's football is just so much smaller here. And it's not surprising when they haven't necessarily had teams who've got very far in the Champions League or that many big stars. Leo Volti and Ramona Bachmann and Alicia Lehmann, probably those big names, right? So I think it's been amazing to almost see, much like it did with England 2022, but perhaps on a smaller scale, something kind of being awoken there, and to see their football culture presented on a much bigger stage, to fight the assumptions from me of, well, are Switzerland really a football nation, etc. I still am concerned about the price of food, can't lie, because I'm not hearing great things, but the atmosphere has been amazing. And Moyo, for them to know that if they go into this final game against Finland and if they win, they're through, it's a straight shootout in front of a home crowd that will give them a big advantage. That's massive.
Yeah, it's huge. And I think you guys touched on it as well with we saw it with England before when it was the Euros was here. They're obviously the first game gets a lot of hype from the home crowd, but the second game, third game is just kind of coasting. But the more you progress in the tournament, then it's the crowd start believing. Then it's we have a chance here. And so I want to get behind it if we do end up doing it. So yeah, I think if Switzerland win and qualify, I just think it's going to set them up not only for this tournament, but for post-tournament, for them to have a more secure fan base. Because obviously you want to buy into a winning team. And as you said, when you're following a team that isn't winning and you're already not sure, if the foundation is shaky and they're not winning, it's kind of easy to just fall off from the bandwagon. But yeah, I think if Switzerland go through, it's going to be great and it's going to do amazing things for women's football in Switzerland.
Definitely. Unfortunately, what probably awaits them is a quarter-final against Spain. So it's going to be, if they knocked out Spain, wow, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be unbelievable. Let's see how powerful this home crowd can be if that's how it plays out. But a word on Iceland. I expected more, I can't lie. I know we got into a whole theoretical debate about underdogs last time, which I'm not going to bring out of dark horse. But I did expect a little bit more from them in a very open group. Unfortunately, they're a team that relies heavily on the Svensdotter long throw and set pieces. They had teams played against them very well and knowing that, well, we're not going to give them moments in transition in which she can use her speed to try and punish us. But they were just really nothing. And I think in the opportunities they did have in their games so far, they just offered very little. They were obviously gutted. It's now 9 games without a win for Iceland at Euros. So it's been a pretty bad run. Their fans still turning up, doing the Viking clap, doing their best. But I do feel for them because that's a tough run of not winning at Euros.
Yeah, and they probably looked at this group thinking we could possibly do something here.
Yeah.
And really all they're going to be known for is their captain pooing her pants.
It's so true though.
They've got more shits in their knickers than points this tournament. So
what's the ex-poo over in Iceland?
So yeah, it's disappointing. I think that group was there for the taking. I think any team in that group probably thought we've got a chance of progressing here. So it's kind of sad that it's not open for the last game where all 4 teams can fight it out. That's what you want to see in a group. So yeah, I think they'll be a bit disappointed with their tournament.
Yeah, and Viggersdottir, it's not been an easy ride. It's not. I don't know if people would have seen, but there's been follow-up since the incident on the pitch in the first game that Iceland played against Finland, which she confirmed to Icelandic press that she had to change her shorts twice, I think, during the game. At which point I just think you got to go off.
Come off.
Just come off. Yeah. It's too much.
But fair play to her. I mean, if
she
you're going to lead by example,
yeah, true.
You got to do what you got to do.
All right, we'll take a quick break and then we're going to come back and preview Wednesday's games next. This episode is presented by Pepsi Max. In the last 50 years, the beautiful game has had more than its share of iconic moments, and Pepsi has been at the centre of loads of them with their iconic films. Now, Pepsi Max are doubling down on their support of the women's game in a massive way. Not only are they sponsoring the Women's Euro in 2025, they're also refreshing the game with their star-studded new campaign. It follows today's stars, Lauren James, Leah Williamson, Alexia Putellas, Caroline Graham-Hansen and Farah Jeffrey on a journey through time as they refresh some of Pepsi's most iconic footballing moments. From Pele's debut in the 1970s to Ronaldinho's beachside brilliance. This isn't just nostalgia, it's a statement. With record viewership, women's football is the fastest growing sport on the planet, and Pepsi Max is right there cheering on that growth. Watch the legends meet now on Pepsi Max channels. Pepsi Max, proud sponsors of the UEFA Women's Euro this summer. So, England return on Wednesday, absolutely dreading it, for a all-or-nothing game against Netherlands. If England do not win this game, they are out of Euro 2025. So much of the narrative has been about the fact that the holders became the first European champions to lose the opening game of the following tournament. Not a massive vibe, we have to say. It was a very, very poor performance. Kate, even what you mentioned about obviously the slightly contentious disallowed goal with VAR, I still think England was so stinky that would have been generous. But, the dynamics of the game change if that goal stands. You can't say.
Everything changes with a goal. But I think you only had to look at all of their interviews after. They were all saying the same sorts of things of, we weren't good enough in possession, we were sloppy. There were so many times under no pressure that we were just giving the ball away. And that's kind of unlike us. I mean, it has been creeping in a little bit, but we have really good ball-playing centre-backs. And, Leah Williamson was guilty of it a few times. I'm thinking, just stop playing those risky passes because every single time we did, we just looked so open. Beth Mead passed one back. I mean, it was like, you're almost like pulling out your hair a little bit. But I do think it might be the wake-up call that we've needed because our preparation coming into Euros, we were saying about playing Jamaica and potentially that's not the ideal game in terms of having a real challenge and some of the vulnerabilities that we've been showing. Maybe they actually needed that shock of like, okay, we have to be on it. We need to be like the Netherlands game now becomes so important that every player is really going to have to fight for their place as well. But they know that they're going, if they lose that game, they're going home. So we do not want to be going home after 2 games, after all the hype of being one of the favourites. Those players will not let that happen. I'm pretty sure of that. There's no way for pride, for everything that they've built as a team and everything they've done so far, there's no way they're going to let that happen. That's why I can't see us doing anything other than winning that game.
Wow, Kate.
I hope.
Go into the changing room and deliver that speech because you persuaded me. Interestingly, Georgia Stanway was actually really good in the press conference yesterday. It was streamed on Twitter. Go have a look if you can. She was very good at being very sort of clear about how bad it was. And she was asked, about the pressure of going into this Netherlands game with everything on the line. And are you worried about that? And she simply said, if we're not good enough, we don't deserve to continue in the tournament. And I thought, damn straight. And I think it was refreshing. I know she felt like, I think she said at the very top of the press conference, I don't really want to be here and be talking, but I thought she spoke really well. She was very honest and very upfront. And I think a lot of people appreciated that and said something funny, which we're going to talk about shortly. But Moyo, this game presents such a different challenge for England because Netherlands play about 6 or 7 midfielders, a lot less pace than France, a lot less width than France. And it's going to be a slightly different challenge to manage. Probably the game is going to play out a lot more down the middle. But England's midfield is going to have a lot of work to do to contain some very good ball-playing players, especially Rod, Palova, Miedema, of course, who scored a great goal against Wales. And England are going to have to work to make sure that they keep track of those runners, that they try and restrict shots from distance, which is probably what Netherlands are going to try and do as well.
For sure.
And they've got to create, which they did not really do against France.
Yeah, I think the key for England in this game is going to be discipline, to be honest. Like, as you said, a lot of it is going to be positional stuff as opposed to like lots of runs in behind. I think the players have just got to be switched on. I don't know if for Serena she wants to make any changes. Like, I won't lie, the starting lineup she put out was the starting lineup I would have put out as well. So I can't even say it was a lineup thing.
Yeah, so for me, the only difference is just from a fitness point of view is James, I would have just been more careful with it. And I thought Serena was going to use James as the joker to come on if they needed to chase the game. Instead, she reversed it, which was start her and then hope that she makes a difference. And
in those minutes,
and she was showing that in the first 20. I just think physically, obviously, it was hard for her to maintain that. And England was so poor, then everyone sort of drifted out of the game. Yeah. I guess we can expect her to start again, probably.
Yeah, I think that's where it's tricky because it's like now that you've played this starting lineup, you almost want to give them a run of games to get that sort of match sharpness, match fitness. But obviously, this game is now so important that like gaining the match fitness has to be for something. Because if they lose this game, what are you getting match sharp for pre-season with your club? Do you get what I mean? Like, it's a must-win game. I think the players that we've got on the pitch, that we had on the pitch in the last game, are more than good enough to beat the Netherlands. And I've made some crazy shouts about the Netherlands, so I actually need England to deliver.
What, as in you thought they were going to
I just thought I just said there's just no way I see Netherlands beating England. I said that before the tournament started. I said, I think Netherlands are a very, very, very good team, but if they play their best and England play their best, I just don't think it's close at all. But England, please.
I agree with you in that on paper, England are the better side. And with Netherlands manager Andries Jonkers, there's been their own tensions. Similar, I guess, ish to this tension around Serena Wiegman going into this, but they've got their own issues.
Yep.
I fear there will be such an appetite from the Netherlands to knock England out.
For sure.
Especially after England stole their beloved head coach. I feel like they will be really up for this, and it'll be interesting how England managed that. One of the things that really concerned me in the France game, and Kate, I don't think we've spoken to you about this yet, was England's lack of physicality, which I thought we had made big progress on over the last few years. And I don't think it's just not having Millie Bright. But not only, obviously, we've got players coming back who look a bit leggy, fine, if you're coming back from injury. But those individual battles and 1v1s, England really struggled, and France were dominating in all those areas. The Netherlands aren't going to be as physical, but they've still got some big players in that side that England are going to have to make sure that does not happen again.
Yeah, I think that's something we've sort of prided ourselves on as well, isn't it? Our physicality. We've got so many players that are very good in their duels and winning duels, and we did lack that. And whether that's a little bit of confidence or I don't know, or a little bit of tiredness creeping in from, it has been a long season, but it's the same for every team as well. But yeah, I think the way that Netherlands play almost suits us better, I think, because they don't target wide areas trying to exploit our fullbacks. I think that helps us because we've got more bodies in the centre of the pitch, and maybe we will be a little bit more contained in terms of not sending both fullbacks forward when we're going forward. It'd be interesting to see what she does in the midfield, because obviously Lauren James is a very physical player that can do something, but like we said, she's not fully fit yet. I thought Grace Clinton did well when she came on.
Yep.
Is that an option that she brings in? But then who does she take out? Because most of the time she's put her trust in Keira Walsh and Georgia Stanway, but I thought they were a little bit off it against France for what we normally expect from them. So it'd be very interesting to see what she goes with. I'm kind of the opinion, I think I'd give Chloe Kelly a chance from the start as well in this one. Not for any other reason than I don't think Lauren Hemp and Beth Mead have been at their absolute best for us since, especially Lauren Hemp coming back from injury.
I thought Hemp was good in those Nations League games, but she's poor against France.
And that's not an attack on her, because I actually think, for me, if I look at players that I think can do something, Lauren Hemp is probably my number one in terms of the way I view her as a player. I think she's an outstanding player, but I think she was just a bit quiet in that game. But sometimes just freshen it up and giving people a different motivation of like, well, my place is not guaranteed here. And I'm not saying for any stretch of the imagination saying Beth Mead and Lauren Hemp think their places are safe, because I don't think they do play like that. But we also didn't get the ball to them a lot. But I just think we need to maybe mix something up just to try and change something, because the players that did play, they're going to have the frustrations of the France game. The little bit of doubt might creep in. And like I said, I do think they're going to be like, we are not going to lose this game. Yeah. But sometimes just bringing someone in with a different energy, a different vibe, Grace Clinton coming on, getting a bit of praise from people. Maybe she's someone that we need to bring in just because she'll be feeling good about herself in the little cameo that she had. So it'd be interesting to see what Sarina does with that.
England were stinky in the World Cup, and Sarina made the decision to go to a back three and really shake things up, and it sort of paid off. Moyo, do you think we'll see anything as wacky as that?
I don't think so, only because the back three initially in the World Cup was like, came about as a circumstantial measure because of Kira Walsh. But I feel like because they haven't been running with a back three now for a while, I think to do it again in a must-win game, I'm not sure. Like, that would take some serious... for Sarina to do that, to be honest. Like, and who the thing is, we're used to Sarina not really rotating that much. We're used to her being quite rigid in terms of the team she puts out. Like, we know she can run with the same starting 11 for the whole tournament. But like, I don't know, I guess because now this England squad isn't the England squad of before, where she knew exactly who the substitutes were going to be at every given moment. Like, we could all predict last Euros which 3 subs were going to come on. Right now, those subs have now become starters for the most part. And so it now, like, we need Sarina to be more creative in a sense. So I think she could make a change, but I don't think it's going to be to a back three.
Georgia Stanway said something funny in the press conference yesterday, that a friend had texted her and said that the France game was like a bad night out. You want to forget as much as possible and move on to the next one. So I wanted to ask you guys, because I put on my Instagram and got some good answers. What's the worst night out you've ever had, Kate Longhurst? I feel like we've got some good ones here.
I don't know if I can say them on the pod.
How NSFW are they? Pick the least cancelable offence.
Well, I guess... when I was at Watford on the presentation night, so this was when I was like 19. This isn't even, I wouldn't even class this as like one of the bad, but it's not so bad to say. So I drank so much that I passed out in the club that we were at. People had plaited my hair, drawn all over me. And I didn't even notice by the time I'd woken back up. So I literally had lipstick written all over my back, my face, and my hair was plaited and I didn't even realise. So I guess that was probably just getting too excited, carried away with the celebrations of the season.
And if you ever come to a Counter Press live show, you'll be able to hear the NSFW versions of Kate's ones, because there's some pretty spicy ones that we probably can't repeat on the pod. Moyo, how about you?
I went to a Halloween party in my first year of uni, and I was like, all my friends were like, oh my God, let's do like red contacts today. And I was like, sure. Never put contacts in before in my life. Obviously, it took me an hour to put in one contact. And I was like, I'm not putting in the second one. Like, we're doing one only, and let's do like paint half my face. I was like, cool. Throughout this party, my eye was becoming so irritated for I was like an hour stretch of just pure irritation that I was like, I have to go. And had been drinking that day, so I was like, okay, great. I ended up in McDonald's with a random girl, by the way, sticking her fingers in my eyeball to take my contact out. Because I was like, I actually can't open my eye and I can't take it out. So then she was like, come, like, I'll do it. And I was actually thinking, I don't know who you are.
Where have your hands been?
Where is she? She was like, you know what? I'm going to wash my hands in front of you and I'll take it out.
Okay.
Like,
at least you washed your hands.
I'm so desperate at this point. I thought I was going to have to go to A&E and get my eye removed. Like, it was that bad.
Oh my God. Were you okay? Was your eye all right?
Yeah, the next day I was like, I'm never wearing contacts again.
Never. Oh my God, that sounds stressful. Yeah, I had some good ones on my Instagram, lots of people falling asleep in the club. I think my favourite one was someone who'd gone on a first date, had put the girl he went on a date with on his shoulders. She fell and was in a coma for 3 days.
Coma?
I think she's okay now, guys.
Oh my God.
Otherwise, I don't think we would have shared the story, but yeah,
I hope.
unconscious. Wow. There's been some pretty
That's a
crazy
bad
ones. And before we go, Wales have a really tough game against France that they're going to be playing, the later kickoff on Wednesday. I've been so impressed with how they've approached this tournament, in how up for it they are, how good the atmosphere seems in camp. And they do know that they've got an uphill battle. But it would be kind of incredible if they can manage to even get a point against France, Kate.
Yeah. Do you know what? The first half, I thought they did really well against Netherlands. And then as soon as Miedemar scored that worldie, it was just sort of like, okay, now it's going to be really difficult for them. But stranger things have happened, you know, and I think with France, is this the game where they think, right, we need to get the job done and we'll be qualified and everything's done, we can relax a little bit in the last game? Or do they take their foot off the gas thinking, well, maybe we need to keep players fresh and fit and maybe try and change a couple of things, or not be as like, okay, we need to play at the same level? I can't see that happening, and I think it would be disrespectful to Wales if they were a bit like that. But all you need is one really good defensive performance and a little bit of luck, and they can come away with a point.
Yeah. And we're yet to see the France meltdown. It's got to happen at some point. We had a little bit of it pre-tournament with some aggro.
Too good of vibes at the moment for France.
The vibes are way too good.
That's not
Something
on the
has got to go off in that change room and blow it up.
Yeah.
So maybe it's this game that does it, guys. Right. Well, great to have you in the building, both Kate and Moyo. We'll be back on Thursday chatting about England, Netherlands. I'm very nervous, guys. I don't know about you. Moyo, how are you feeling?
I'm trying to be confident. Honestly, something's telling me that comfortable England win. I'm telling you.
Kate?
Yeah, I'm quietly confident. I think we'll be all right.
Wow, England listeners, this energy that they're emanating is so positive. I'm going to try and soak it up. So enjoy Tuesday's games, enjoy Wednesday's games, and we'll be back on Thursday. See you then.